Time to prepare for the oncoming battle. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episodes 19 and 20 of Dr. Stone. Yeah, we're doing 2 episodes today. Just because I wanted to. No other reason. No, there isn't another reason, though. It is just because I wanted to. It's just a random flight of fancy, random decision I decided on. Um, I just felt like I wanted to do 2 today. So we're doing 2. But yeah, we're preparing for the arrival of Tsukasa and his army. They're gonna come and take on the Kingdom of Science, which means there's a lot of prep work to do. We can make katanas now. We have the capability for other weapons and stuff, but we're still unsure of how this is gonna go. Because Tsukasa and his group of people are gonna have strength for sure. That's going to be their big advantage. Strength and just intellect. Like, obviously, there's the intellect on the Kingdom of Science's side, too. But you cannot discount Tsukasa's. Because, as I keep mentioning over and over in this series, Tsukasa is smart. He's not like this lunky meathead. He is smart. He's observant. And he's strategic. He's the kind of character who you really cannot take lightly. And we know that Senku absolutely understands that. So they're going to have to figure out some plans beyond just weapons. Weapons are obviously going to be important and are going to help. But there needs to be other plans too. And I'm interested to see what they come up with. Now, we had an advanced guard come to the village already, and they were just kind of getting a feel for things, checking things out, checking on everything. This led to Gen fully betraying Tsukasa and his army, and is now fully on the side of the Kingdom of Science, which we knew already, but it's now like a fully, like, confirmed thing for Tsukasa's side. On top of that, Tsukasa is now going to know for absolute sure that Senku is alive, because it wasn't clear before for him. I think that's part of why this advanced guard was sent. And excuse me, on top of that, we have the fact that the advanced guard are going to tell Tsukasa about the new weapons. And that includes the fake gun that Senku tricked them with, which surprisingly worked. I'm actually a little surprised that worked. Which, that was the one thing Tsukasa was most afraid of the other side having. Like, even before the Kingdom of Science was even a thing, when he was on his way to find Senku to, kill him in the first place, when that entire thing happened on the mountain and all, he was even saying to himself, it's like, if Senku perfects gunpowder and everything and gets, like, guns made, it's like, that's it for me. It's like, I'm strong, I'm tough, I can't handle a gun. So that's gonna probably cause Tsukasa to take a little caution. Either he's going to understand it was a fake out, or at least think about the idea, or he's just going to take heavy precautions while still making his move. And I honestly, I don't think he's going to, like, back down or anything. It's just, it's gonna be interesting to see how he reacts to everything too, because I really want to see that now that he's coming back into the story. I want to see more of his thought processes regarding all of this. We also met another of his, I guess you could say, lieutenants, I can't think of his name right now. But this guy who wants everything to be like proper and everything. Um, he's also very smart, also extremely like jacked. Like my god, dude. And very observant. He's also a very skilled spear fighter, which in small spaces like a bridge is very formidable. And considering the bridge is the, way to get to Ishigami Village, that's going to be a useful skill for Tsukasa's army. Um, it just basically at this point comes down to Senku and what he figures to do here. Because the entire village is on his side at this point. Like, that's not a question. They all, like, see him not only as the, chief of the village, but as someone they can trust because of him saving Ruri. It's like, that's just already game. There's maybe a couple people who aren't fully on his side, like Magma, but that's just Magma. That's just how he is. But he's willing to work with them for the sake of his own goals, too. We saw that. But there are others who are fully on Senku's side. The ones who we have been, like, getting to know all of this time. And so we know that no matter what, this will align properly. Even the former chief is, like, completely on Senku's side at this point. But again, that's because his daughter was, healed by him. Like, his daughter's life was literally saved at, like, the point where she was going to probably die soon. It's like, yeah, if someone, like, healed my kid and kept her from dying, it's like, I would be very fucking grateful, too. To be honest. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where this goes and how this ends. There's, I think, 24 episodes total. So there'll be, like, 4 more after this. In the season, mind you. And, yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how this closes out. Because I've shared my thoughts, my theories, my ideas on how it could already. And I'm just still unsure as to where this is going to go. It's either gotta have, like, Tsukasa's redemption, or the two sides just end up, like, getting away to fight again another day. I don't really see there being any other options at this point. Because Tsukasa's side is not going to win. Even if they overpower the Kingdom of Science, the Kingdom of Science will get away. They're not going to be defeated. So it's just a matter of, like, exactly how this closes out. And I'm wondering how our two little spies are going to help with this, too. I'm wondering if Tsukasa even trusts them, because we haven't seen them again since they departed. So I'm wondering if Tsukasa has even trusted them enough in the meantime to, let them be free. Maybe they're in cages or something. But we'll see them again. And I'm wondering if they will, like, maybe be, like, the clinch pin for this battle. Maybe they're going to be the ones who help really resolve this. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. In the meantime, though, we're just going to get this started and hope for the best. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I think I've said this before in these reactions, but I've never been, like, very science-minded. It's not something I was great at in school. I was always better with language and social studies. Um, like when it comes to like reading and writing and like history and stuff, it's like that I can handle. But when it comes to math and science and just formulas, it my mind didn't not grasp it. It's something that just I could not understand. And I don't know if it's because of my autism. I don't know if it's just the ways that teachers tried to teach me. I don't know. But it's something that never clicked for me. Like, even in college, I had to take pre algebra 3 times, and I still never passed it. And that's pre algebra. I never passed it. It's one of the reasons why I don't why I stopped going to college. I mean, outside of college, kind of being a money making scam. Um, it's also just not really worth it when you're not tuition. What is the word? Your financial aid is taken away because you keep failing pre-algebra over and over again, because for some fucking reason, no matter what you go into, pre-algebra is a requirement, even though that makes no sense for most things, that because you won't use that in most things. It's like, oh, I want to do something involving writing, so I have to take pre-algebra. What? I'm not going to rant about that here. I could go on about that kind of shit forever, but point is, I've never been very scientifically minded, but at the same time, I respect science greatly for a lot of reasons. I mean, besides just like cell phones and stuff, science has given us huge advancements in the medical field, in sustainability of life, which kind of goes with that, but sustainability of food, just quality of life enhancements and stuff, all kinds of things. And science is always evolving. It's something that's never the same between two different like centuries. It's always changing, and scientists are either learning new stuff or learning that what they thought before was the case is not the case. Science changes because scientists discover new stuff. And they realize that in some cases, things they might have believed before were wrong. And that's natural. That's a natural part of science. And this series mostly focuses on advancements in science, which makes sense because, they're living in a new stone age. They have to, advance in scientific achievements to be able to survive. In terms of medicine, in terms of electricity and energy and all here, in terms of all kinds of stuff. It's a very specific form of science we're seeing here, but that incorporates other types of sciences within it. And like I said, I've never been the most knowledgeable. I've never been the most like quick thinking when it comes to sciencey stuff. A lot of times it doesn't click properly with me. It's not as bad as just straight up math, but a lot of times it does. My mind just does not comprehend it. I guess I'm more in the boat of like Kohaku and whatnot here, where it's just like that's just not my forte. And there's been many moments in this series where it's like they come up with something or they build something, and it's like I feel dumb that I didn't think of that. And this is definitely one of those cases. All of this preamble, these 5 minutes of just talking about all of this, is all to build up to the fact that I did not fucking think of a water wheel at all. It just did not cross my mind. Like, there's been things I've thought of, like, that they could build towards and work towards, of course. And electricity was definitely one of them. But my mind never went to water wheel. It just, I never thought of that. And yeah, I absolutely feel fucking dumb about that. Because it's like, I literally thought of electricity, and that is a very natural, like, place to go when thinking about how they would come up with electricity in this world. It's like, of course you're going to think of a water wheel, but I just didn't, and I have no explanation for it other than it just didn't happen. I'm just a dummy dumb. But while this series does sometimes make me feel dumb, it's so entertaining to watch, and it's so exciting every time a new scientific achievement is made. And I think what makes this one even more exciting than usual is because Chrome came up with it with absolutely zero prompting from Senku. He came up with it not just on his own, but kind of out of nowhere. Like, the only thing he had to go off of was the other stuff they were already doing. And this is something Senku didn't even think about. Chrome actually thought of this before Senku did. That's also really exciting, because it shows how smart Chrome is, how forward-thinking he is. And it shows that Senku is fallible. It shows that he's not perfect. He's extremely smart, like unbelievably smart. He knows about all this stuff, but it's just like, it just didn't cross his mind for some reason. Probably like for the same kind of reasons it didn't cross my mind. It just didn't. There's like no real explanation for it. And seeing how shocked and like impressed Senku is at the end there, it's like, that is such a massive deal. And again, it's not even just because of how much he's impressed. It's also because of what it is. A water wheel is so insanely useful here. Not just for the spinning and all, but for everything. It's so insanely important as a, scientific progression. It changes everything, not with what they're trying to do here, but with like the general progression of this world. It's that big of a deal. Like, it's probably the biggest advancement they've made so far. I'm not even kidding you. Like, even bigger than the sulfa drug, which is a massive advancement, of course. But this changes everything. This gives so much potential for more stuff to come, and makes a lot of what they've done in the past easier. This is a massive deal. And it very clearly in the episode treats it as such. It's made very clear that this is a big fucking deal. That this is huge as an advancement. And again, it's made clear that Senku is shocked that he didn't think of this. But also, there's a little bit of pride there. He's proud of Chrome for thinking of this. Because that's just who Senku is. He sees Chrome not necessarily as an equal, more like not even as a student. I don't know how to put it. Like a contemporary, maybe? That might work. But someone who's like in the same field, like goes through the same like studies and works, but just isn't quite on the same level. I guess a contemporary would work there. But he's definitely proud of him, as if he were like his master or something. He definitely feels that pride, and that's great to see. Now, we also got the cotton candy machine before this, which of course was made for the gold, but you have to test it out with the cotton candy first. And we even made a little bit of a peace offering to a new character we got, whose name I cannot think of at the moment. The pink-haired girl, who's also wearing pink. Lots of pink. Feels like me. I love pink. It's my favorite color. But yeah, so she's the new character who is Hyogo's lieutenant, and she is very, very athletic and just very skilled at stealth as well. During the fight at the bridge and everything, she had started setting fire to Ishigami Village and was a massive nuisance. And now that Hyogo's gone back to Tsukasa and the Empire, she's staying behind to keep watch. But we also see that with the Con Candy machine, Senku gives her a peace offering. And there is the implication of her possibly switching sides. It has definitely made that implication already, like directly in the episode. So the possibility is there. The thing is, we know almost nothing about her character other than her loyalty to Hyogo and her skill. We don't really know anything about her as a person. So I'm curious as to how that's going to go. Now, through all this, we also saw what happened when Hyogo was first revived, and that he and Tsukasa hit it off right away, having very similar, practically the same ideologies. There's also a lot of build-up for the return of Taiju and Yuzuriha. We don't get to see them in these episodes, but we see their, forms, and they are mentioned multiple times by both sides. Because Tsukasa doesn't trust them now that he knows Senku's alive. And he's just like, okay, we're going to keep an eye on them, treat them as we normally would, which means that they have been just part of the society during all this time. Treat them as we normally would. Don't let them know we're on to them. Right now, they have no way to communicate with Senku and everything, so we should be okay. That's pretty much his thoughts. But he also understands that Senku and the Kingdom of Science are going to attack them. And so he's preparing as well for this upcoming battle. Everything's kind of setting up really interestingly. And that's kind of what we're leading towards right now. So like I said, we have about 24 episodes, I believe. And this was 19 and 20. I think 21 and 22 will also just be, the build-up. And then 23 and 24 are going to be the battle. That's what I'm thinking are going to happen. I don't think we're going to get more than 2 episodes for the battle. I think 23 and 24 will be the battle itself. Maybe it'll, start at the very end of 22. The very end is them arriving to attack. I could see that. Provided everything goes as it's been going according to plan. But, I'm very interested to see what more they can do now that they got this water wheel. What other advancements they're going to be making in the preparation to fight Tsukasa and the Empire. And I'm really wondering if this girl is going to switch sides. That would be pretty cool. I'd be, all for that. And as I said during the reaction as well, I just want to bring this up again. With the entire thing with Tsukasa's ideology and everything. And Hyogo's, I guess, by extension. The ideology is rooted in some valid points. The world before, which, our real world currently, is not a utopia by any means. It has a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and a lot of bad in it. And yes, a lot of that comes down to the people in charge, the rich adults in charge. A lot of times, not just adults, but, older people. And that's not going to change. we like to act like, oh, our newer generations are better and everything. It's like, yeah, but the older generations are raising up a lot of the newer generation to follow in their footsteps. There's still going to be people like that. There always will be. And that just happens with humanity. And here it's like, yeah, you have like this ideology that all these rich old adults created this world that was terrible, that lacked in a lot of freedoms, that was, full of corruption and misery and pain. And yeah, it absolutely was because of these old men. And I very specifically say men because most of the time it is men. And let's be honest, at least here in America, most of the time it's old white men. Most of the time. There are exceptions, but it's a world that is run in a way that does put down people who aren't those in charge. Especially in terms of capitalism. When it comes to capitalistic societies, like if you're, an average everyday person, you're being put down by the system naturally. It is built to go against you. It is only built to help the wealthy. And Tsukasa's got points, valid points. The problem is he takes those valid points and twists it into an ideology that makes it okay to murder people. And like I said, his entire thought about like, oh, we'll make it a utopia by only reviving young people, by making a world run by young people and everything. It's like there are so many issues with that idea. It's like you do realize that people are going to grow up. You do realize that no matter if they're young or not, that doesn't affect their ideologies necessarily. Just because they're young doesn't mean they're going to be on your side. I mean, he has proof of that with the Kingdom of Science. Hell, even Gen, who was on his side, has betrayed them. And that's just still more proof that it's like, your ideology is inherently flawed. But I still also stand by the fact that he is a good person who's just genuinely trying to save and protect this world and its people. He thinks this is the right way to do so, and he's wrong. But he genuinely believes this. And it absolutely stems from the traumas of his past with his sister and that asshole on the beach. He just wanted some shells for his sister, and he was, not just put down for it, but like beat up by an adult for it. It's like he absolutely has a reason to be upset. He has a reason to hate adults. Though the idea of like hating all adults because of the actions of like one or two is dumb, honestly. But again, he's a dumb teenager. Like he's what, 17? Maybe 18? He's a dumb teenager. You can't expect him to necessarily think with like all of the emotional intelligence of, Senku. Senku's not normal. Senku's a teenager too, but he's not normal. He doesn't like he doesn't like act like a teenager too often. I kind of want to check something here. I want to remember her name, the pink-haired girl. I'm not going to look up any other information. I just want to find out her name here. Homura. That's it. Yeah. Homura is the most interesting of these new characters to me right now. More so than um. Oh, I remembered her name. Now I forgot his name. What the fuck? I'm a mess. I'm absolutely a mess. What the hell? I don't want to look up more info though. That's the problem. And I'm worried that if I look up more info, I'll see like something that I don't want to see. Hyoga. Okay, I found it. Without seeing anything else. I don't know. I remembered her name and then forgot Hyoga's name. Um, she's more interesting to me than Hyoga at the moment. Hyoga seems like he's kind of just another Tsukasa with the slight difference in personality type and just his, investment in propriety. But he seems very similar, a little too similar. I'm not a fan of characters who are basically just clones of other characters. Um, for example, just to use a recent example from something else I reacted to on the channel, Has Been Hotel. That's why I'm not as big a fan of Emily as a lot of people are. Because Emily is literally just a clone of Charlie. She's pretty much exactly the same. Just she's an angel instead of a, demon. I feel like it's lazy character writing. Like, you need to give them something that differentiates them. If they're just a clone of another character, they're boring. Especially when the other character is just more interesting. And in both of these cases, the ones that they're clones of are just more interesting. Tsukasa and Charlie are more interesting than Hyogo and Emily. And I'm not saying that Hyogo's not interesting at all, or Emily in that matter. I'm just saying, like, comparatively. Meanwhile, you have Homer out here, who is very different. And very different from even the other female characters we've seen in general. She stands out. And that interests me more than someone like Hoguro does. So, yeah. I'm definitely thinking she could be swayed over, but we'll see. Um, Now, as for the remaining episodes, we have like 4 more episodes. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get if I'm going to be able to do more two-parters, like, or 2 episode reactions like this. I can try, but there's no guarantee. It's going to come down to a number of different factors, but I will try. Because then we can do 21 and 22 together, and then 23 and 24 together, and that would finish off the season. I can try, but I can't guarantee it. We'll see when we get to next week. Though, leaving off with that, I do want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the advancements made? What do you think of the new characters? Let me know all of your thoughts on that and more in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.